Welcome once again to Cajun Classic Cars TV. I am Flying Brian, and we've landed in Abbeville, Louisiana, and I've got Jesse here. Tell us what we're going to be talking about here today, Jesse.
Well, we're going to be talking about a couple of Dodges, 1935, KCL panel truck, and a KCL half-ton pickup.
All right, let's start with the panel truck, right here on Cajun Classic Cars TV.
Your cars are the stars. Cajun Classic Cars TV.
Abbeville, Louisiana is located in Vermilion Parish. Abbeville is 55 miles west of Baton Rouge and 120 miles west of New Orleans, just south of Lafayette in the Acadiana area of Louisiana. Abbeville is an agricultural trade and processing center for rice, sugarcane, and seafood, particularly crawfish, alligator, and crab. An Abbeville attraction is the large open kettle sugarcane syrup mill. Growing up down in South Louisiana, Mama always had a can of Steen syrup around. One of the classics of the early Dodge brand is the 1935 Dodge humpback delivery truck.
I never mind the bumps or the ruts along the highway of life. I float through life on a cloud.
And that, folks, is exactly the way you feel in the famous Dodge Air Glide ride. If you haven't experienced this thrill, visit the showroom of your local Dodge dealer.
It was designed for use by businesses in making deliveries. The original cost of a commercial panel van from Dodge? $595, equivalent to just over $13,000 in today's money.
So, Jesse, on this first one we're going to look at, it is a KCL long bed, right?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about the long bed, the panel van, and all that stuff.
Well, in 1933, they built this truck. It's called the Glamour Years, and they used the same front end on all their trucks for that year. And what they did was they cut it off, and they used the long bed, but they needed to put a panel truck. They make a sedan, but they also needed a panel truck with a little more height. So this is all cut and leaded in here, welded and leaded into it, which makes it the long bed. That makes it the KCL panel truck. Everybody calls it the humpback.
So I noticed right here on a lot of panel vans and trucks, Jesse, you would get sort of the gap where there's a little bit of movement, but this is just solid, right?
It's welded together and then it's leaded in.
Okay.
They used a lot of lead on these trucks in those days.
So Jesse, how long have you been into old cars, man? What got you into it?
Oh, since about 1980. I was actually looking for a 5-window GMC pickup. My wife found that one in Lafayette for $500. It had a Hemi in it and it was hot rodded, but I'm into restoration, so I got it and restored it about 20-something years ago. Saw this one, a friend of mine had it advertised for about 3 years ago. And he was going to hot rod it and I got him to sell it to me instead. The only problem was it was all the way in Seattle, so it was a road trip. I got it, brought it back home. That was a 2-year restoration on this one, and a lot of money. A lot of time too.
Sometimes I have an old friend of mine that told me years ago, if you've got some money in the bank and you're ready to restore, just don't look at the bank. It's going to scare you. Just either do it or don't do it.
It's a slippery slope. Once you start, it's downhill fast.
Yeah.
And especially nowadays, the cost of restoration is really high.
Yeah, I think you double or triple since when you and I got into it.
Tires on that one were like 125. Tires on this one are $476 a piece.
Amazing. Well, first of all, I also want to congratulate you. I believe on all of our 20-something episodes so far, you are the first set of Dodges we've ever done. I just realized that when we were going around doing some still shots, realizing we've never done Dodges before.
There's not that many of them.
No, there's not that many, especially in the shape that yours are in. Jesse, before we get more involved into the details and the specs of this particular vehicle, the panel van, tell us a little bit about Petrie's Aviation.
Well, I'm an aircraft mechanic by trade. I've been in it since 1969. I've worked on just about every fixed wing, small fixed wing, and helicopters there are. But I've always done Dodges. So it's kind of a mixture of both. Is the wings, the 985 engine, and the Dodge Brother Loco. And this is not the Star David. A lot of people think it's the Star David. It's the Omega letter D's, the two Dodge Brothers on top of each other for perfection.
So you and I have somewhat of a connection because I spent about 9 or 10 years in Alaska. You've done some airplane repair in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw this logo, it reminded me of a couple of guys that still use the DC-6s to deliver packages to the rural villages.
There's also a Beaver up there,
That's right. Yeah.
and it has a 985 on it.
Well, what's great is I remember at night I used to like to go to the airport and watch them light up, and it looked like a fireworks show because as they spark.
Yeah, they're old engines, but they're unique, and they still have some of them around. A lot of crop dusters have them still on their old aircraft.
So, Jesse, this sort of has an old police paddy wagon kind of look to me. And so I'm wondering how many prisoners you could fit in the back of this vehicle, man.
Well, actually, this one was a school bus.
Okay.
It was built in Los Angeles, went to Seattle. It was yellow. But they also built 5,000 of them for the Army. They were ambulance.
Okay.
Or they were probably for the police department as paddy wagons, or delivery trucks. I'm not sure, but it was mainly built for the Army and for people delivering. Now, the delivery truck doesn't have the hump, and it's got one big door. For this one, they raised it up and they put the 2 doors on.
Can we take a look inside?
Sure.
All right.
Now, the inside of this thing, I had a couple of pecan trees taken down here after a storm, and I aged them. And my wife, I milled them down and everything, got them in there, but she finished it. She did a nice job. And the props are not real props. They're kind of real props are too expensive. But I got these in there. Now, I did all the interior, but it's all pecan wood. That's plexiglass with the regular top on top. It's got the bomber seats in it. It came with 2 seats or 1 seat. You could either have it either way. And I built the seats over the wheel wells, and then I have toolboxes and storage.
What was the hardest thing to do on this vehicle? Something on the motor, inside, outside? What was the hardest thing when you were restoring?
Well, the problem with Dodge is they hang over the frame about 6 inches, so they collect mud up in there. So consequently, if you look at this one, the last 6 inches of it was eat up all the way down. Okay? So I have a buddy in Kansas now. When I did the other one, I had to hand form him. But now he builds those panels. So all I had to do was cut them out, re-weld them in, and then let them back in. So there's no Bondo on this truck. It's all either welded and leaded. That's why you'll see a few ripples, because I'm not into Bondo. But that was probably the hardest part. And there's the wife. We have insulation all inside to stop that oil cannon and stuff. And you can see that it came with hydraulic trucks. So $595.
Jesse, I kind of like these lights. Now, was the Dodge in there an add-on, and that's how they did it?
That's how they did it.
They did it, okay.
Yeah, that was factory like that. Except it didn't have that light.
Okay.
It only had the left.
Okay, tell me about why it had a left light, not a right light.
They didn't have turn signals in those days.
Yeah, they used their hand.
There's the hand. That was
Yeah.
the turn signals. That's all they had.
I'm going that way, I'm going this way.
So for safety purposes, I put turn signals, and I had to build that bracket
Yeah.
to make it work.
I love these old bumpers like this.
Oh yeah,
These spring bumpers like that. I think they're awesome.
that's the original bumper. I had it chrome, re-chrome. It took me a long time to figure out what colors I was going to paint it, because normally they come with black fenders and one color. Take your pick. They didn't even paint the stripes. But I wanted to kind of upgrade it some, so I got the 1935 Chrysler colors and was able to match it. And that's camel, and then that's Dakota brown, and then that's chocolate brown. So it's a 3-step process, and I painted it in a Harbor Freight tint. Okay, I don't have a paint boot. So there's a little bit of imperfections in it, but it came out pretty decent anyway. 35s came with 3 different wheels. A 16-inch, which had 10 holes. A 17-inch has 12 holes. And then had a 20-inch wheel for mail carriers and stuff like that on the rural roads. And you would have had just 4 big holes and a more solid wheel. The other thing unique about these things, a lot of people don't realize, but the grills, you have 35 bars on a 35. A 34 will have 34 bars, and a 33 will have 33 bars. And a lot of people don't realize that, but that's an easy way to tell which truck if it's got the right grill on it or not.
If they were back there in 1901, there'd only be one. No, no.
No, I don't know when they started that, but that's just something that they did.
Yeah.
Same thing with the big bug eyes, they call them.
Uh-huh.
They're special. They're okay. Well, under the hood, this one's got the 201. Same with the 201 engine. This one's been bored out to 60,000 because it's got the original engine in it. And 6-cylinder, flathead 6-cylinder. They built that engine from 1928 to 1963. You'll see a lot of them on industrial pumps and stuff. But Dodge built a solid engine. It has a solid water jackets for cooling. And it has a tube that runs all the way inside here to make sure that you cool the back cylinders. That was a lot of design. Dodge has inserts for the bearings, not like Ford's where you have to pour them in. There was a lot of innovation went into those engines. They didn't come originally with the oil filters. That's an add-on. But most people like to have good oil filters on them. It's got a push starter. So it doesn't have it's electric starter, but you have to push it to manually engage it.
I noticed you got some dual carb action there.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look in the books, you'll find that the 1.5 tons and the 2 tons would have had dual carburetors on them. So I've just adapted that to that one, get a little bit more horsepower, and it runs good. And I had the arrangement for it, so I decided, well, on this one, I'd go ahead and put it on, upgrade it. That's the hot rod in me.
So are you getting miles per gallon or gallons per mile on this one?
Probably gallons per mile. I'm not exactly sure. I finally got the fuel gauge working correctly now.
I understand. My Nash still doesn't have a good fuel gauge.
Yeah, it took about 3 times of pulling that tank out of there, but I finally got it right. And I think I'm getting anywhere from 7 to 6. But you got to figure out gas probably in 1935 was like, what, 6 cents a gallon?
You're right. That was all right back then.
I guess. Mm-hmm. And you can run any kind of gas you want in it, but I just try to run non-eto.
Mm-hmm. You ever run Jack Daniels in it? That's what I want to know.
You probably could. You probably could. It would probably run just about anything in it, to tell you the truth.
How much of it is original? And then tell me a little bit of story about what you've got going on with the screw here.
Okay. Most of it's original. The only thing I've done is updated it to 12 volt because I'm not most of them were positive ground, and it's a little hard to keep them cranked on some days, winter days. So this one's 12 volt, but everything else is original. Still got the bomber seats in it. The upholstery might be a little different, but it's original from there. Brakes, these trucks came with hydraulic brakes. It was manufactured with hydraulic brakes. That's one thing Dodge did. Now with the grill, a lot of people don't want to know about the Ram. The Ram, when Chrysler bought them out, they wanted to put the Rams or some kind of a thing on their hood. So they went to the same guy that did the Fords and everything else and said, design me something. So he came back to them and he had the mountain goat. And Chrysler said, well, why a mountain goat? He said, well, if you're on a ridge and a mountain goat's coming at you, what are you going to do? Dodge. So that's how the mountain goat got on there, and that's how it's been on there ever since. What's unique about the 33, 34, and 35 first series are the suicide doors that they came with. So I'm going to go in and get in. It's a kind of a trick to get in them. You got to kind of skirt in. It was built for little people.
People that haven't eaten too much crackling and boudin can get in here real easy.
That's right.
Bit tough for me. So, Jesse, tell us a little bit about what's happening inside here in this good old Dodge.
Well, it doesn't have a whole bunch of gauges, but it's a manual start, mechanical brake, 3-speed transmission. Now you get about 50 comfortable. You're doing about 2,200 RPM at 50.
Maybe 60 with a tailwind.
Going downhill, but the thing is you won't be able to stop yourself. Even with hydraulic brakes, you're still going to have trouble. But yeah, it's just simple. I mean, there's not a whole bunch of electronics in it. It's simple top, you know, and you got your air conditioning, like we said. That's the thing you have to do with these old ones is you have to put a lot of insulation because the heat would come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you mentioned something about the steering wheel. Is that what year is that from?
Yeah, the steering wheel is a 35, but the horn button's out of a 37 because before that they weren't putting the Ram on it, and they put the Ram on it, and I kind of like that better.
So I can tell you got a little aircraft background there with your key there.
Yeah. Yeah, that, you know, once you're in aviation, you're always in aviation, you know. But that's just the way it is. I've done it 50 plus years. Still, a lot of my aircraft knowledge kind of went into taking this thing apart and putting it back together. Yeah, would you like to see it run, Brian? I'll go ahead and crank it up. Let's see what we got here. I always push the clutch in. I never trust it that you're in neutral. Pull the choke out a little bit and then push your starter. A little cold-blooded too. Warm up. See the fish already? Watch this. They're like piranhas. That's on that side, and you can do the same thing on this side. We got a pretty healthy pond. See big bass down here too.
How often do you fish out of it?
Probably once every couple of weeks right now. I'm saving this for my retirement. You know, I love to fish. We go fishing every week with my wife and I. And I figure when I can't get in the boat, I'll wheel my wheelchair over here and I'll sit over here and fish and enjoy my time.
Jesse, thanks, man, for sharing this little panel van here with us from Dodge and being the first Dodge victim on Cajun Classic Cars TV. And it's been a lot of fun talking about this whole ride. We really appreciate it, man.
Your car